Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at the Sofirn H35R, and this has got to be one of the best value headlamps out there, and it's perfect if you're looking for a low cost option but still decent quality construction. And yeah, basically this light comes with a couple of 660 nanometer red LEDs in there. There's also 3 white LEDs. And I reviewed a version of this light, well, I think a version of this light ages ago called the Sofirn H35B, and it looks pretty much identical, but this version has higher outputs and also a more simplified UI. So let's have a look at what you get in the box. So obviously you get the light itself here, and it does come with a battery. Just got to figure out which side I'm unscrewing, but got a Sofirn 18650 cell, 3000 milliamp hours. This is the headband that comes with the H35B, and it's one of those snap-on headbands, which I absolutely love because you get those ones with those rubber connectors on there and you have to slide it in and you wiggle it around. It just takes ages to sort of wiggle it around to the spot that you want. So I really like that, yeah, Sofirn have this particular design even on their entry-level headlamps. This is the box that it comes in, real basic sort of box, and you've got a USB-C charging cable here as well. There was a bit of plastic that came onto that was stuck onto the glass lens, and this has got to be the smallest user manual that I've ever seen. Look at this. Here's a little side-by-side comparison with my Sofirn HS21, and of course this isn't a completely fair comparison because the HS21 just has a variety of different functions in there that you don't even see on more expensive headlamps. But you know, you've got that same sort of tube style design. I do find that the anodizing is glossier, as you can see here on the H35R compared to the HS21. I prefer the anodizing on the HS21 actually. And it's also lighter. All right, so a little close-up of the Sofirn H35R, and you know, you've got that aluminium tube style design, and the machining is pretty decent at this price point. Especially you've got these little grooves on the back there that help to allow the headlamp to sort of swivel up and down. It catches onto this plastic groove here on the back of the headband. And yeah, overall it's, you know, the quality at this price point is good, though it does feel lighter, less polished than some other Sofirn offerings like the HS21 I showed you guys before. And yeah, that does cost a fair bit more as well. And yeah, there's no sharp or rough edges, which is good. IPX6, so you can use this in the rain. I probably wouldn't put it underwater though. And yeah, Sofirn didn't include any specifications on these LEDs, but the white LEDs do look like SST20s. I don't think they're Osram P8 or P9s. There could be an Osram P8, but they do look like an SST20. And there's also a couple of these red 660 nanometer LEDs, so these also could be SST20s because I know that's, yeah, they do have reds in that sort of range. The reflectors are orange peel reflectors, so that's going to help to sort of diffuse the light better, especially when you've got these multiple LEDs in there. You really want to make sure that you eliminate as many of those artifacts as you can. Good thing now is that Sofirn have included a glass lens on the front, and the previous model, had a quick look at my notes, did not have a glass lens apparently. I think it had a plastic lens. That's what I noted there. Anyway, it's in storage somewhere, but that's good. And yeah, everything is made of aluminium. You've got these little shallow cutouts as well near the LEDs. That's going to help to dissipate heat. And yeah, basically the switch is here on the side, and that also functions as a battery indicator. And this is really cool. You can unscrew it, screw it here, and you can get access to this USB-C charging port. and you can screw that in to cover it. And I really like this function. I don't know why Sofirn don't include this sort of design on some of their other headlamps, though. I do think the HS21, they've still got theirs on the side there like that. The headband itself is pretty simple, as you can see, just a single strap, and there's just a little design there in the back. It doesn't say Sofirn or anything like that. You can tighten it around the back, and I think this is perfect because, of course, you can slot the light in, take it out quite easily, and for a light that's fairly, it's fairly lightweight compared to other 18650 flashlights that I own. Yeah, I don't think you're going to need that strap on the top. This feels firm enough on the head. So I thought I'd go through the UI, just show you how the light is operated. And it's pretty basic. Essentially, it's one click to turn on these white lights, and it just goes into the previous memory mode, and you press and hold to cycle. There's 5 modes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is turbo. And once you turn back on, it just memorizes that last mode. To access the red LEDs, just press and hold from off. There you go, those red LEDs are on. So again, you've got those 5 modes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And yeah, it does also memorize the last mode that you had in red. There's no other functions in there, which is pretty simple. All right, so I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests with the Sofirn H35R, and this is on the white mode turbo, and you can see here, you pretty much get close to 1.5 to 2 minutes of runtime on turbo before the light steps down. By the 3-minute mark, you can see there, it's just sitting below 40%. 8 minutes is another slight step down, and the light is now sitting on just above 20% output. This is a second ceiling bounce test that I ran in the white mode again on high, and you can see here, you get about 1.5 minutes again of that runtime. Then it steps down to about just under 40% of output and doesn't step down any further. I ran a third ceiling bounce test again on the white mode to see if it could hold 100% output. And yeah, you can see here, it's pretty much the same sort of deal. You get, again, close to that 1.5 minute mark on 100%. Then it steps down to about 70 or so percent and remains like that for the rest of the test. Also ran a few other ceiling bounce tests on the red mode, and this is the turbo mode on red, and quite an interesting little pattern. Again, that same sort of step down pattern. You get about a minute of runtime on turbo, steps down, and by the 2-minute mark, it's on about 30%. Then it starts to rise again and stabilize and slowly start to go down. A bit of an interesting pattern there. I ran a second ceiling bounce test on the high mode, and this one looked a bit better, so it stayed on 100% and stepped down at the 1.5 minute mark again to 80%, where it remained for the rest of the test. Similar sort of step down pattern again on the red medium mode, so it starts off at 100%, about 1.5 minutes of runtime, and then by around 2 minutes you're sitting on about 80%. And I also took some measurements with my Opal Lightmaster Pro. You can see here on the turbo mode with the white LEDs, 114 meters of throw. Pretty decent considering that you've got so many of these little LEDs housed in this sort of multi-reflector design. It's not something that's going to be very throwy. So I think this is more for kind of short to medium range use. CRI range from 64 to 65. And the CCT looked fairly neutral, so 4,800K overall. Also ran some tests on the red mode and on the turbo, got 30 meters of throw. So some considerations to keep in mind if you're thinking about getting the Sofirn H35R. The UI is a big improvement, in my opinion, compared to the H05B. There's just less stuff going on in there, but I think there's still too many steps in my liking. I do prefer like a 3-mode max for each red and white setting. But yeah, on the plus side, like I said, there's no flashy strobe modes, which I really use and find quite annoying in headlamps. The second consideration is this red light mode. Now, some of you guys may not use that 660 nanometer red light mode, may not find it important for you. But yeah, for those of you who maybe do wildlife walks, night walks, stargazing, that sort of thing, It's incredibly handy because it preserves your night vision. And yeah, I just think it's much easier in the eyes. I love using red light at night. So the third consideration is the beam distance. Like I mentioned before, it's not the throwiest headlamp, and it's still good for outdoor use up to short to mid-range, but it's definitely not going to be able to spot something far away. And yeah, if you're using this or you're looking to get a headlamp for something like search and rescue spotting where longer ranges are necessary, it's probably not the right headlamp for you. Overall, I think the Sofirn H35R is one of the best value headlamps out there if you're a beginner or an enthusiast. Maybe you're an outdoorsy sort of person as well. You're looking for a quick but still good option, good quality option. Produces 1,500 lumens. You've got these red LEDs in there, simple UI, comes with the battery, comes with a strap, charging cable, and I would probably pay more for lunch sometimes than I would for this headlamp. So yeah, really doesn't get better than this in terms of value. So yeah, it would be great to add to your glove box, keep with you in your backpack or something like that, just in case, and it's really light as well. So if you're interested in getting one of these, go ahead and check the video description. I'll put a link down below to the Sofirn H35R. If you have questions, let me know down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, click the like button and share it with a friend who might be interested. It helps me to grow my channel. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews and keep up to date with the latest flashlight news, make sure you subscribe. The Sofirn H35R, and this is the lowest mode. Let's keep stepping it up. There's 5 modes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So even that turbo mode here is quite easily reaching the center of this field. It's just tinting the trees at the end, but yeah, I can't really see much there. But I have to say, like, this beam profile is so useful, and I find that when I do a lot of my beam shots that essentially these headlamps or whatever throwy flashlights tend to blow up the camera and sort of create too much brightness in the foreground, but this just creates a wall of light with a nice centralized hotspot, a large hotspot in the center. 3, 4, 5. There we have it. I'll go for a bit of a walk. If I'm moving around funny, it's because of the mosquitoes. I'm getting bitten. Oh, I've sprayed some bug repellent. Alright, and I'll put it on also the red modes now. Let's see what we can do. 2, 3, 4, 5. Also 5 modes, and that's pretty decent. Look at that. Kind of difficult to show up on camera. I'll go for a quick little stroll. It's difficult to see here on camera, but that red light is extending at least 3, 4, 5 meters ahead of me, quite bright, and then it ends up also hitting those little shrubs in front there. So there's a bit of ambient light here, but in the middle of the night where there's no ambient light, it's going to actually be really useful. Sofirn HS35. There's the highest of the white mode, but we'll step through the different modes as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a bit easier to see that hot spot in the center now. If we go into the red mode, let's see how that's better. You can really see that. That's high sort of red mode, and that's on high, but yeah, the turbo red mode is the best, obviously for throw. Pretty much the same beam profile, but not enough, not as much light as the white. And I really like 660 nanometer LEDs because it's just got this really deep red color to it. No sort of sign of orange whatsoever. I'll go for a bit of a walk